This video is Mgtow. Of course, logical Mgtow would be the correct terminology, seeing that I am a owner of the Mgtow, the logical Mgtow page, that is. There's been many aspects to what women expect. Tom Likas himself, being of course he's another Mgtow follower in a sense that one to start with is that I do agree with him by the fact that one should never marry single mothers. One should never marry single mothers because there's been many practices in the judicial system that states, and it has been shown essentially, where even though the male in question is not the quote-unquote real father of said child, but yet the child eventually sees the new male in his or her life as a father figure, therefore considers the male the father. And with that, the mother, the actual real mother, uses that to her advantage, to where she can bleed the dude dry financially by the concept of what's known as child support. And there's only one thing wrong with that, though. And that is simply that you never know what the complexity of the woman's mind is. Even scientists themselves have been trying to figure that out, especially when it comes to male mind, for the females especially. But I'd say scientists would possibly focus mostly on how each female thought process is, and has been for quite a number of years actually. Because yes, I do believe in marriage. Okay, I'm going to tell you that straight out. But I do not believe in one thing. Only maybe more. But the one thing for sure, if the woman really loves the guy and is willing to go through all sorts of shit, all sorts of financial difficulties, all sorts of emotional, psychological, metaphysical, and also maybe off and on arguments to, even because I know any relationship, both boyfriend, girlfriend, fiancés, will eventually have arguments. And I know the commonality of that is there's many people say, "Oh, we never argue. We never argue. We're perfect. We get along perfectly." Did you ever watch that? If you ever watched that episode of How I Met Your Mother, where Barney Stinson, of course, Neil Patrick Harris, um, and I can't remember the woman's name, but anyways, the dark haired woman that's a newscaster, on How I Met Your Mother. Although, believe me, if I watched it enough, which I used to, I used to remember it. But anyways, they both were in a relationship, right? They both essentially lived together for a certain length of time per episode, right? Um, and and when it came to the differential aspects of between them and Lily and Marshall. Lily being, of course, the actress from the one that's playing Lily, which is the actress from American Pie and the American Pie wedding and American Pie 2, of course. The one that had rode the other actor on the movie, the curly-haired male actor in the movie, like a damn horse, which basically was odd. But okay. Anyway, although I know it had to be some sort of comedic effect, but I never really got it. Anyway, calling the fact that I was born many years before the 1990s and before the 1980s. But anyway, um, the Neil Patrick Harrison, the one that plays the newscaster on How I Met Your Mother, the long dark-haired woman. Anyway, they claim that they never argue, and yet Ted, which is supposed to be, I guess, was supposed to be not Ted Danson, but who was it? Oh yeah, Bob Saget. Um, and because of course the narrator sounds like Bob Saget. Through the a number of parts of the episode, if not the whole entire voiceover of the episodes. But in any case, anyways, Ted Mosby doesn't find that to be feasible. I call that very intelligent, because he knows there's no way in hell. He knows there's no realistic, logical way in hell that nobody in a relationship, both male and female together, would ever not argue. There's always going to be disagreements of any level, any sort, and any type and any kind, logically and realistically. Question is, have you watchers of this video and listeners of Tom Likas and fans of Tom Likas and members of Mgtow, I should say fellow members of Mgtow, ever run into this, to where you run into that particular thing, to where the male or female, or both, say, "Oh yeah, we never argue. We get along perfectly," or anything even remotely close to that? If you do, tell us a story as much as you can, even on the comment thing below. um, the one thing is, I have found out new information. And that is simply that women have started the feminist movement because they feel, of course, the fact that they're not getting enough after the ERA march and protest of 1972 to 78. They don't feel that their women don't feel like they're getting any entitlement and enough respect and what have you by men in society in general. Even with the fact that they're able to work currently. And that's all due parts into thanking. They should thank the ERA. And yet they started what's a certain number of groups of the female gender started the feminist movement. Then when that started falling apart, and it is still falling apart, the another group of women started the Mgtow movement. You know, the only blue pill part of the whole thing is simply this: there have been a number of males, and granted, I know we can't say that homosexual males, essentially be that gay type males, would not follow the feminist movement or the Me Too movement, but there's been notices of well, not notices as in paper or anything like that, but a visual notice of actual straight males. In this case, major heavy blue pill type males following the base of the feminist movement, and now the Me Too movement of the women that started that or put that together essentially want guys to join it too. Well, the one that I can tell you one thing though is that they would be able to get the guys that joined and sided with the feminist movement, which again us Mgtow members would consider blue pill males, right? To join the Me Too movement, but the only thing is that grouping also of the Me Too movement is still falling apart. And generally quicker than the feminist movement is. But Mgtow is staying strong. We should be us Mgtow members and men should be proud of that. Actually, more than proud of that. Actually, the basic fact is that women don't think they're being entitled enough. They want entitlement. Obviously, they want an entitlement to the points of non-realistic standards and level. They want entitlement to the points to where they get way more than the guys do. The women want entitlement to the points to where they have more leverage, higher leverage than us guys, and because they feel that since the beginning of time, of course, that men, even after the ERA situation, have still gotten the higher leverage in many different things and issues and situations and what have you else. If that was the case, if that was really the logical case, now think about this. If that was the case, even after the ERA, march and protest, that and say by some happenstance or what have you else essentially, that was still talked down to the points of even legality standards and whatnot, and also the base of constitutional standards and whatnot, right? Think about that. That right there would possibly be a sufficient reason for where women have the upper hand on that aspect, right? Logically, yes. But seeing that the ERA thing went through, and both constitutionally and legally in every state practically, to where women are now in the working force, they're able to basically get now sufficient, moderate to sufficient amount of income next to the male counterparts, as it's well known to be. Um, but obviously, that's not enough. And see, right with the fact that with that fact though, women are going the extra mile. Men need to still be cautious about this. They're going the extra mile. Aside from the feminist movement and aside from the Mgtow movement, the extra miles to start with, even before those two movements and gatherings, um, women have essentially manipulated, and I do mean this in a very heavy way and logical, truth, factual way as well. They've been manipulating the courts to side with the female, even though the male did not cheat on them. The male did not do a damn thing in harm's way, even physical. No physical harm. No nada. No nada. Nothing illegal. Nothing negative. Nothing in any harmful or other negative, illegal, and moderate illegal sorts, or anything, even when it comes to their so-called emotions, which basically they'll try to throw that in the sense of manipulating the court system. So the guy would have to pay them, the woman, child support or alimony, basically both at times. Aside from the switch of property and itemizations and shit like that. So logically, Mgtow members and Tom Likas listeners and fans, you have to literally protect yourself, even more so than before, because women have been known, even the court system in a number of states, including California, have been manipulating the court system even to the points to where even if the male is not, biologically the parent, they're still saying, okay, yeah, well, even though he's not biologically the parent, he's still gonna have to pay the equal sum as if as if he was the actual parent biologically, when really in reality he's not at times. That's another thing. When that's one thing that married people, married mothers, so essentially the mothers of children, essentially single mothers, essentially will do, even if they're not married to the blue pill male, and also they'll even try to persuade the male to say, "Oh, I wouldn't do that to you," and then in the back of their minds, Yes, I would, but I'm not going to tell him. The basic fact is, I know enough about women, more than most men do. And when I tell my female friends that, even my male friends, they don't believe it. But the basic fact is that I do, because one, I was raised by women. If you find that surprising, and I'm strong on the male aspect of things, and defensive actions and whatnot for males against the females, against the females' illogical actions and persuasion and crap like that and other shit, pretty much. One can be raised by a particular gender and still be headstrong and steadfast and strong on the male, on their same gender, essentially. There's very very seldomly you'll run into, if at all, of course, that you'll run into guys that are raised by women, and yet they are 100% for women, yet they are trying to act all macho at the same point in time, like most males do. But the basic fact is, I was raised by women, and as an advocate, I'm going to tell. As an advocate, which I am an advocate of CRPHA. Okay, I'm going to tell you that that's one of my employment aspects right now. As an advocate, I would tell everybody, every American person, and even our allies, the truth. And I am telling you the truth at this point, even now, as a fan of Tom Likas and a member of Mgtow. Let's put it this way: I know enough about the female psyche more than most people know about me. I know enough to where, if women think they can get things by me, try it. They will never succeed. Um, and also, when it comes to marriage, though, if any of you men are watching this video and you're about to be married, or thinking of marrying some chick or some some woman that talked you into buying her all sorts of shit with your hard-earned money, when basically she can get this shit herself, basically, most of it anyway. Aside from the fact that she feels entitled that the guy should get her shit, when basically she can afford this shit on her own, and she can get a job and fucking get the shit herself, right? Um, the one thing, if you're about to marry a married and a single mother of however many kids, even one single kid, or however many, two, three, whatever, right? And the father is either deceased, or the father is either in another state, another country, another continent of sorts, right? And still having to be paying child support. Um, Watch out, because that one person can easily turn away and say, fuck this shit. I ain't paying no more. I ain't paying the bitch no more." And guess who's on the secondary aspect of paying what the woman feels entitled to, which basically is illogical either way. But the one thing is, there's one reason why I say that, to start with anyway. Well, of course, there's several others, but I'm going to tell you one thing, and it's happened more often than not. whenever a woman gets the money from from the male, even if the male is not really the father biologically, they will spend only a moderation, if not less, for the child, and the larger percentage, right, on them, on the woman, because they feel entitled more than have taken responsibility to take care of the child, but making sure the child's needs are met 100% way before they even do anything for themselves, which basically goes to the points of this. Spend very little for the woman, very fucking little, and more on the child, because the child's are the future. The woman's not the future. The child is. The child should be the main fucking focus. But there are mothers out there that will do a complete opposite, where they'll spend way more on them, way more on the woman, but moderate to less, if not minimal, on the child, and consider that being enough to where the child's taken care of, the child's needs and wants are taken care of. If CPS had any brains and they heard about that and saw that child would be taken away from that single mother like that, logically. Regardless if the woman's on a high-paying salary type job or not. That would teach women a lesson. Never to fuck with men in that way financially or any other way. And be more logical and be more reasonable than they have been. And more logical than most, a majority, if not more than the majority, are. I'm going to tell you straight out, right, that the basic fact is that I do know there's many, many mind tricks that women will play with guys. In the sense of convincing and what have you else, and do the mind altering bullshit trickery crap too on top of that. And yet, even mostly the younger men, of course, fall for the shit because they don't know anything else. They haven't run into that shit before. Even with the women of their own age, but yet the women of the younger men's own age would still play it, but in a different way. Something that's not very noticeable to even them. And at times it's not very noticeable to the older generation of men either. And yet, for the older generation men, should realize and should put the puzzle pieces together and know that if the generation within the same age range of older women tied in with the older men are able to do that, be that of course the older women within the same age range of the older men, right? Or of the be that the older women are able to do the trickery crap and all the all the crap, and yet if they notice if they notice something almost not so similar, if it's basically quote unquote masked, in some way, believe me, it is not masked. It's played the same way, but in a different concept, different manner, different what have you, that the older generation of women have played, and they're playing it in a more and specific way. The younger generation of women will eventually play the same way, but they're building up experience on that aspect. Each time they do it to each man. And you wonder, and women now are wondering why there's not enough men out there, and why the larger portion, if not more than larger portion, of men are going, both young, a moderate, maybe moderate to minimal parts, a percentage of younger generation of men, as well as a mid to moderate age range of generation of men, and the older generation of men are going 100% Mgtow. Straight up, ladies, you think you are entitled to more than men? You think women think they should get way more and more leverage than men? As I said earlier, you. Okay, I'm gonna tell you straight out. Okay, as an advocate, I support and back the ERA. But the only thing is, there's only one thing when it comes to women. The ERA did march and protest from 72 to 78. And now, from I'd say the late, since mid to late 80s to through the 1990s, and even to this point, through the millennium, the beginning to this point of the millennium, so far, the women are using the ERA to their own advantage, their own way, the way that works for them. It's not the logical way, not the realistic way, the only way that they know that it would work for them and them alone, the women essentially. There's no real logic in that either. But yet, if you try to tell that to a woman, they'll try to humiliate you in any way possible, or look at you and snicker, or and turn their head away and walk away, or whatever. I mean, there's numbers of things they'll do to show. If you were to tell that to a woman, here's another aspect to it. There's been many women trying to turn guys away from Mgtow because they want the guy to go the way what the woman wants, what the woman thinks, and how the woman feels, and everything else, right? Only one problem with that. Oh, well, let's start with anyway. Once the woman gets her way, eventually she gets tired of the one male in question. Then eventually cheats on him or leaves him for someone else. I mean, she'll do practically everything and anything under the sun, as it were, metaphorically. Um, that and try to act all innocent and as if she would never do anything to or even behind in the guy's back when basically she has and would have and will. That's one of many things right there. And here's another one. Even though condoms are 99.9% effective, minus the 1%, there's been many cases to where women would secretly poke holes into the Trojan, as it's called as well, besides condom. And of course they'd be little pinpricks, right? Not visible to the naked eye. And so they can get impregnated essentially by the male. That's another ploy right there. Or if she got pregnant by any number of the guys, and they find the that the one any number of guys that they essentially procreate the child with, and even at times, so even after been having the general sexual intercourse with one or two men, then they go on with others along the ways and in months or years, however many, right? And for various different reasons. Uh, and then just like if you watch the Moria show, or the Steve Wilco show, right? You'll find a number of women claiming that oh yeah he's the father of the child, right? And then right when they find out he's not, they get up and start running right off the stage and screaming no 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 no, and then it's happened even when the woman brings two, if not three, if not four guys on the panel to say, oh yeah, the one of these guys are the father. I don't want it to be him. I don't want it to be him. I don't want it to be him. But I want it to be him. Or I don't want it to be him. If it was the two guys essentially, I don't want it to be him. But I want it to be him. Or if it was three guys, I don't want it to be them two. But I want it to be him. And then right when they find out that it's none of them, they're humiliated on live fucking TV. No matter how many times they do it. One thing, ladies, if you don't want to be humiliated, if you want to be respected, treated with the same level of respect and consideration and entitlements that the guys do have, even though you think they have way more than you, which basically is bullshit. Um, then you cannot be playing games with a guy's mind. You cannot be playing games with a guy's emotions. You cannot be playing games even when it comes to the financial aspects. You cannot go to the points of where you feel more entitled than the guy should feel. And you cannot go towards the aspect of saying, "Oh, I will say this, but I really will lean towards this way." You know, and it could be on any number of things. That's why I didn't name any. guys know exactly what I'm talking about. And women know what I'm talking about as well. Because I know women are going to be watching this video as well. So, do not fall for the feminist crap, men that are not yet Mgtow. Follow it. Be metaphorically a red pill. Make a Mgtow member. And the Mgtow brothers show this video to your friends that are not yet Mgtow, and the other videos that are Mgtow videos, and hopefully they will see the light, and they will no longer be purple or blue pill. They'll see the mental psychological trickery that women try to fucking pull with many men, especially when it comes to the illogical levels of entitlement. I guarantee they'll see the light eventually. Once the more they watch this video, the more they watch other Mgtow videos. One thing also is that when a woman wants a certain number of things, it could be any extravagant number of amount in cost or reasons what they may even. Oh, if you love me, then you'll buy me this or this or this or that the other. And also when you go into bars, if you buy me a drink, you'll buy my friends a drink. Don't even fucking do that shit. Well, here's the thing too. All right, just like Tom Likas says, right? You do not buy women drinks. When it comes to dates, it should be no more than $5. I'd say between $5 or $10, give or take, right? If not less, if not a moderation between the two, but no more than that. And if it goes beyond 20, you're a blue pill. Plain and simple. And it is considerably true what Tom Likas also says, in which is they know within the first 30 seconds, women know within the first fucking 30 seconds that if and when, if at, or even at all, if at all, essentially, if the woman's going to actually allow you to enter her in the sexual manner. And that's the truth. It's been proven time and time and time and time and time and time and time again. More times than I would even put on this video by voicing it. I'm going to tell you straight out. Many years ago, I had a fiance by the name of Jill Yeaman, which is now under the name of Dixon. Her first name is Jill, of course, still. Before I even knew about this was several years before I even knew about Mgtow. Several freaking years, right? The 1990s in that aspect. I did practically everything logically, realistically possible for this woman. That wasn't enough for her, apparently. That was not logically enough for her, apparently. She felt more. She felt that she should get more entitlement than that. Than the emotional, psychological things, and also on the occasion of when I even spent time with her and spent and did the trips with her and her family members, being that both one her father Scott Yeaman and her mother separately granted. Like one, let's put this way. This is another thing too. It's a good thing I brought it up too. The women will eventually go have it to where you literally are talked into risking your job by calling in sick when you're really not fucking sick, right? You're not fucking sick, but you want to but they want you to be with them, and you want to be with them, obviously. You know, what I mean, it gets to that extent, right? And I know the younger men would probably experience this more often than not, right? Even now, in today's day and age, especially. And anyways, I risked my job 2 fucking times. Okay, 2 fucking times. One, when I went whitewater rafting with her father and her father's fiance at the time, and of course Jill, along with Jill especially. Okay, and the second time around, I went bodyboarding with Jill, her mother, her, I think it might have been her brother too. I can't remember exactly, but I know it was at least I know it was Jill, Jill's mother, and Jill's mother's boyfriend, fiance, whatever it was at that point. In which later on, after a number of years, a short number of years, I found out her her mother broke it off with the one that we went on the trip with. Um, but the basic fact is, I'm telling you, I'm telling the Mgtow brothers and members the truth, and I'm telling the possible and hopefully new members of Mgtow the truth as well. And women don't will try to tell you differently on every level that you hear from Mgtow videos oh they're just unhappy because they don't have anybody. They're just unhappy because of this, or they're just unhappy because of that. They'll come up with any number of fucking bullshit. I can guarantee you that. Women will come up with any number of bullshit just so you don't fucking follow the Mgtow way. The Mgtow way is telling you the truth of how women are and have been. Even when it comes to marriage and even when it comes to relationships in general. Yeah, I may not have a woman, but hey. But the basic fact is, if and when I do, and I'm not going to say that I'm hopeful for it either, because if you get too hopeful, then things eventually don't happen, right? So basically, if time ever did come to where a woman was interested in me, with the fact of my advocacy knowledge and among other things, um, she'd have to go by what I say, and then eventually I could easily go by what she says. But the only thing is, she'd have to prove herself more than one. She'd have to continuously show everything positive. She could not do what you see on the program Cheaters, what women do. She could not do what you hear and see on any other live program that have women doing shit that's basically illogical, immoral, cheating, adultery, various numbers of other things. And try to get away with it. and act like they're innocent when they're really not. But even after they do it, even before they do it, they're not innocent on either of the two. The basic fact is, women should realize this: if they are not going to be happy in years after claiming to be happy with the one person, they shouldn't fucking start. They should not fucking start anything with the guy, even if they seem, oh, he seems okay. He he'll he'll be my man for a long time. And then something, right? And then, like, say years after, right? A number of years after, I'm bored of him. And then she does some weird shit, you stupid, illogical, sinful shit that you see on Cheaters and fucking other programs, right? And still act all innocent now, and then try to, and like what you see on the program Cheaters, where women try to say, oh, I'm sorry, da, 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 da. Let's talk about it, let's talk about it, let's go home and talk about it. Don't even fall for that shit either. I'm going to show you something right here too. You see that model right there? Did you see that model right there? I'm going to show you it again. Right there. That, Mgtow brothers, is what I'm able to do. I mean, I'd still be able to do it even with a woman, granted, but I wouldn't be able to go as far as I have with that model. And as far as I plan to be going with that model, in the sense of building it, I wouldn't be able to play video games as much. I wouldn't be able to listen to my music as much, because she would want the full attention, which basically I can understand. But I mean, the one thing is that when they want to do something for themselves and on their interests, they don't always go to the points of focusing on us men, because we deserve this equal amount of attention that they do, but yet they claim that we want more attention, more than they are supposedly given, which is a load of shit. Because we men can give women the equal amount of attention that they give us, and if they keep on claiming that we don't give them quite as much attention, even after working our asses off, making the money to where we can do things with them, and even when it comes to dinners, dancing, and birthday and Christmas and Valentine gifts and all that crap, right? They cannot bitch about that crap. If they do, they're not worth being around. They're not even worth being in a relationship with at all. Because a woman wants, and there are women out there that want more attention than you give yourself, than you give the job that you do, in order to make the money to survive and to do things with them, with essentially, among other things, right? The basic fact is, women are going to the points, way beyond the points of um, illogical, unrealistic shit and standards and manners and what have you else. I mean, way beyond the unrealistic meter, or it would go completely off fucking scale on that aspect. The fucking arm of the fucking pin would go right out of the fucking glass, because it's so fucking illogical and unrealistic that of the way women are what women are expecting from men, and yet they consider the same thing about us. Though we don't ask for as much as they ask from us, but they don't want to admit that crap. Now I'm not telling you straight out, all right. I know there are women that will be reasonable, really, really, really logical and reasonable, but they're unheard of though. It's unheard of. Those type of women are unheard of, not even seen. The ones that most men run into are the ones that are the unrealistic, the way beyond unrealism shit. The ones that aren't are not even visible. They're not really visible at all. The only time they are visible is when they are taught by the ones that would do the unrealistic shit, and then they try to test it out. Sometimes it works for them, sometimes it doesn't. But when it doesn't, then they go back into hiding again. I've said so much now. If you want to know more, Mgtow brothers and members and Tom Likas listeners and fans, please let me know in the comment section below. Have a good day and stay clear from illogical women. Stay clear from dating even and do not ever get into a serious relationship with a male with a married would be with a mother essentially that's a single mother. Do not get involved with a single mother whatsoever. Have a good day.